Good morning dear students, respected viewers and honorable guardians. Welcome to online class brought to you by Aliajam School and College, Munshirat, Fulgaji, Feni. Dear students, I know all of you are doing great and studying at home, doing online class minutely and do your homework regularly. You know, due to COVID-19 pandemic, government has taken a decision to close down all the educational institutions of the country so that you can prevent transmission. Dear students of class 8 and 10, I have a class for you. Before going to our class, let me introduce myself. I am Shimarani Bonik and I have been working as a teacher of English in Aliajam School and College. Dear students of class 8 and 10, this class is made for you. Let's move on to our today's class. Dear students, can you guess something about the sentences? Look at the sentence. Our today's class based on these sentences. Who opened the door? By whom was the door opened? Can you see any change in these sentences? Yes, you have rightly guessed that today's topic's name is changing sentence, voice of interrogative sentence. Learning outcomes. After completing the lesson, you have to be able to tell about the voice, solve the problem of that voice. First of all, we have to know what is voice. Voice is the form of the verb which shows whether the subject does the work or something done to it. Now, classification of voice. You know, there are two kinds of voice, active voice and passive voice. Now, we will learn what is active voice and passive voice. Active voice. Active voice expresses the performance of the subject. For example, you do the work. Passive voice. Passive voice expresses an action performed upon the subject. For example, the work is done by you. Now, interrogative sentence. The sentence which asks a question is an interrogative sentence. This kind of sentence usually ends with a note of interrogation. I mean question mark instead of a period. Period means full stop. An interrogative sentence can be either affirmative or negative. For examples, do you want to go there? Did you see her? Have you watched the movie? Why haven't you completed your homework? Don't you know who she is? Can't we be friends again? Interrogative sentence is divided into two categories. Number 1, yes, no question. For example, are you a student? Number 2. WH question. What is your name? Now, voice of interrogative sentence. Let's see how to change it. Does Lucky cook the food? Active voice. Here, Lucky is subject, cook is verb, and the food is object. While changing the sentence into passive, this structure becomes am is are plus subject plus Viii, past participle of the verb, plus by plus agent. Agent means doer. And last of all, question mark. Now, passive voice. Is the food cooked by Lucky? Here, the food becomes subject in passive voice. Cooked is Viii, past participle of cook, and by is a preposition, Lucky is agent, doer. See some more examples to clarify this. Does Tanish write homework? It is active voice. Its passive voice is homework written by Tanish. Another example, does Soha learn English? It is active voice. Its passive voice is English learnt by Soha? Number 3. Does Tunna play cricket? It is active voice. Its passive voice is cricket played by Tunna? Is she cooking the food? It is active voice. Here, she is subject, cooking is verb, and the food is object. While changing the sentence into passive, this structure becomes am is are plus subject plus being plus Viii plus by plus agent. Agent means doer. In passive voice, for example, is the food being cooked by her? Here, the food becomes subject in passive voice. Cooked is Viii, past participle of cook. And her is doer. Dear students, we have written here being for ing. If you find ing in active voice, then you have to write being for ing in passive voice. Is Lucy writing homework? Is homework being written by Lucy? Is Sami learning English? Its passive voice is English being learnt by Sami? Is Rosalind playing cricket? Its passive voice is cricket being played by Rosalind? Did Rose make a kite? It is active voice. Here Rose is subject, make is verb and a kite is object. While changing the sentence into passive, this structure becomes was were plus a subject plus V3 plus by plus agent, I mean doer in passive voice. Again, here Rose is subject, make is verb and a kite is object. While changing the sentence into passive, this structure becomes was were plus subject plus V3 plus by plus agent, I mean doer in passive voice. For example, was a kite made by Rose. Here a kite becomes subject in passive voice. Made is verb 3, I mean past participle of cook, and Rose is agent, I mean doer. And you know, by is as usual preposition. Another example, did Ronald write a letter? This passive voice is was a letter written by Ronald. Did Oliver learn French? This passive voice is was French learned by Oliver. Did Nicole play football? This passive voice is was football played by Nicole. Has she cooked the food? It is active voice. Here she is subject. Cooked is V3, I mean past participle of cook, and the food is object. While changing the sentence into passive, this structure becomes have, has or had plus subject plus been plus V3 plus by plus agent, I mean doer in passive voice. For example, has the food been cooked by her? It is passive voice. Here the food becomes subject in passive voice. Cooked is V3, I mean past participle of cook, and her is agent, I mean doer. Another example, has Simran learnt English? This passive voice is has English been learnt by Simran? Had Romel had cricket played? Had Romel played cricket? His passive voice is had cricket been played by Romel? Why did she punish you? It is active voice. Here she is subject, punish is verb and you is object. While changing the sentence into passive, this structure becomes WH word plus auxiliary plus subject plus V3 plus by plus agent or doer in passive voice. And last of all, you have to put question mark. For example, why were you punished by her? Here, you becomes subject in passive voice. Punished is Viii, I mean past participle of punish. And her is agent, I mean doer. Another example, why have you bought this ticket? Its passive voice is, why has this ticket been bought by you? When will you return the book? Its passive voice is, when will the book be returned by you? And the last one, what did she buy? Its passive voice is, what was bought by her? Dear students, by whom instead of a who plus auxiliary verb according to tense and person plus object subject plus sometimes be or being or been is used according to tense plus verbs past participle plus note of interrogation, I mean question mark. For example, who is writing the poem? Its passive voice is, by whom is the poem being written? Who instead of a whom plus auxiliary verb according to tense and person plus verbs past participle plus by plus subjects object plus question mark. For example, whom did you recommend? Its passive voice is, who was recommended by you? The students, now evaluation, what we have learned today. Tell me what is voice. Yes, you are right. Thank you. Another one, tell me how many kinds of voice? Yes, you are also right. Thank you. Now change to active voice into passive from today's lesson. Thank you, you are right. Now, homework. I am going to give you a homework. Change the voice into passive. I am going to read out the sentences for your better understanding. Have you eaten banana? Who is calling me? What do you want? Will you help me? Does she help her mother? Do you believe him? Dear students, now we are at the end of our today's session. I hope you enjoyed the class. Don't forget to learn. Wear mask when going out. Stay home, stay safe because you are our future Bangladesh. Goodbye, best wishes, good luck and thank you.